Good morning.
Good morning.
Can everyone hear me okay? Wow, this is nice. I can talk in my quiet voice. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
This is great. This is great. It's good to see a full Zendo and lots of people online, 37 people online. Good to see you all. I'm Ted O'Toole, and I'm giving the talk today. And for quite a long time now, I've contemplated some fall giving a Dharma talk that is a leaf. Just a leaf, and that's the whole talk. So, yeah, holding up the leaf would be the whole talk. Or better yet, not me holding up the leaf, we can take me out of it. Better yet, the leaf is the talk. So there's no TED, no teacher, no students, no Zendo, and no words. Because I get so tired of talking. Because words get in the way so much. Because we have a leaf which is just a leaf. And I can start talking about it. And pretty soon, we're thinking about the words and not about the leaf. And we're thinking the words are the leaf, and we're wrong. And there's this barrier between us and the leaf, which is our words and our thoughts. So I thought, how about doing some direct teaching? How about just holding up the leaf? And I decided, well, I probably can't get away with that. Not everyone would appreciate such a short Dharma talk. So I'm going to need to talk, but I hope that my words will disappear and that only the leaf will remain. And then maybe not even the leaf will remain. Now, of course, I'm not the first person to think of doing this. Because it's not an original idea, because the Buddha did this. And many of you know this story, and it is one of the most famous stories in Mahayana Buddhism, which is the direct teaching branch of Buddhism. And it's a story of when the Buddha was set to give a talk one day, and instead of using words, he simply held up a flower. And there are many versions of that story. I'll read you the one from The Gateless Barrier, which is a collection of koans translated by Robert Aitken. Case 6, the world-honored one twirls a flower. Once in ancient times, when the world-honored one was at Mount Gurdrakuta, he twirled a flower before his assembled disciples. All were silent. Only Mahakashapa broke into a smile. The world-honored one said, I have the eye treasury of right Dharma, the subtle mind of Nirvana, the true form of no form, and the flawless gate of the teaching. It is not established upon words and phrases. It is a special transmission outside tradition. I now entrust this to Mahakashapa. So instead of speaking, he holds up a flower, and it's a direct teaching, and the Dharma talk is over, and only Mahakashapa gets the point. He smiles, he knows what's going on. And this is a very important story. This really is the Mahayana origin story. This is the origin of the Buddha's direct teaching, and it anticipates Mahayana ideas about prajna paramita, the wisdom that comes before knowing, before thinking, before understanding, before anything, before you say something about the flower, before it even is a flower. And this kind of Wisdom is the essence of Mahayana and of Zen. It's just this. Just this. Just this. Now, that's it. And that's all it ever is. That's all it ever is just this right now. Which may seem a little disappointing, but can also seem incredibly liberating if it's always just this right now. So no words are really needed. And I'm pretty sure it didn't actually happen that way with the Buddha holding up a flower, because actually this story didn't even appear until 1400 years after the Buddha's time. So I think it was made up years later by Mahayana Buddhists, by Chinese Buddhists, who came up with this story because they wanted to say, well, the Buddha didn't really set forth extensive teachings about Prajna Paramita because he thought people weren't ready, but he gave us hints of it, and someday we would sort of uncover that hidden current in his teachings, and we would start teaching it. So it was probably an effort to legitimize their radical new teachings, but it doesn't really matter. It's a good story. It's our origin story. It's who we are. And that story has persisted for another 1,000 years. And it's been told over and over and over because it is so basic. What could be more basic than a flower? What could be more basic than a leaf? So, why do I want to talk about this at this time? I've been contemplating this for so long. I went to my folder, my Dharma Talk Ideas folder, which usually doesn't help me, but this time it did, and I found this old page with the ink is actually faded. So I don't know how long ago I wrote this. And it says a leaf, and it's a page of notes, and it's a little hard to follow. Up here in the corner in brackets it says, gather leaves, pear, Donald Duck. And I have no idea what that means. But yeah, I thought it was time to do this because it's fall. It has to be a fall talk. But also, I think it's right simply because it's so basic. And I think this is a good time to be basic. It's good to go back to basics in difficult times. And times are difficult. For example, what a fall it's been. It's been really warm and really nice, but it's been too warm and too nice. And at home, I've still got bright yellow flowers in pots on my front steps because we haven't had a killer frost yet. And it's November 24th. That is not right in Minnesota. And I think I heard that it's the warmest fall on record. So that's something to be concerned about. So yeah, these are difficult times. And climate change is not even the thing that's top of mind for most people. There's that other thing too. So there's an interesting story about Suzuki Roshi, which is in Crooked Cucumber, a biography of Suzuki by David Chadwick, which I recommend. It's a really interesting book, kind of a fun book. If you want to read a great book about Zen that's exciting. I read it twice a number of years ago, and I think I have this story right. If I'm not remembering it exactly correctly, I think that's okay because it's just going to help me with my talk here. And the story is that there came a time when Suzuki was down at Tassajara Creek with a number of his students, and they were, I don't know, hanging around and swimming. And Suzuki went into the creek and he almost drowned. Is anyone familiar with this story? No, well, he almost drowned. I guess he went way down deep, and he was down there on the bottom, and somebody realized he was missing, and somebody went down there and grabbed him and pulled him up. And it had a profound effect on him because, I mean, he had just confronted his mortality in a very dramatic way. And what I find really interesting about that is how he responded to that and what it meant for him and his students. What it meant was he really wanted to get back to basics. And as I recall, he encouraged people to just follow their breath, just do their very simple practice with all of their efforts, with all of their might. And I trust his instinct. I trust him to say that when things are at their worst, it's time for us to be at our best through taking care of the basics of our practice. So upon being confronted with his own mortality, he didn't say, we need to find new techniques, we need to find new special teachers, or we need to read certain sutras, or we need to travel to Japan, or we need to travel to India. He didn't say we need to read a lot of books or learn a lot of ceremonies. He didn't say we need to find a special talisman or a charm of some kind. He said we need to follow our breath. And I've been talking to a lot of people the last couple of weeks, and a lot of them have been talking about sticking with the basics of practice right now. Meditating, following their breath, very simple, mindful activity, and connecting with Sangha. Maybe not in really sort of dramatic or complicated ways, maybe just being in the same room with Sangha, maybe not even talking, just being there. And I think all of that is good, and I'm doing it too, to the extent I'm able, because I think our practice should be very basic. But also, this too is very basic. This leaf. In Zen, we have this. This is what we have in Zen. This. We cut through it all. It is far more basic than words, far more basic than the concept of form and emptiness, and it's even more basic than following our breath, because this is what is, not what is presented to us, not what we're looking for, not what we take in, not what we understand. It's not anything that involves us at all. This is this. It's not what we think it is. It's not what we want it to be. It's not even a leaf. Leaf is an intellectual idea. We demarcate this thing from the rest of everything, and we try to separate this thing from inseparability, and we give it a name. It's not that. We can never name this. We can never make this an individual thing. It's beyond our concepts and our understanding. And if I must talk about us, and I must talk about us because this is a Dharma talk, I just have to say we need to see it. We need to receive it. We need to erase our own desires about it. We need to erase ourselves and just let it be. Just. So we're going to do a little exercise. I have two baskets here, and in a minute I'll pass them around, so please take a leaf. Don't be choosy, just take one. And we'll pass these around in silence. And notice how things are as you're waiting in silence. Do you have anticipation one way or another? Maybe, oh, I'm kind of excited about this exercise, or I hope I get a good leaf. Or maybe it's negative, like, this is really dumb. But whatever it is, just kind of notice it. And whatever your reaction is, that's great. It gives us something to work with. And if you're at home, notice how you're feeling too. And at home, please find something in your immediate proximity there that's a little bit like a leaf. It could be maybe a little statue or a rock or a piece of fruit, something that you could hold in your hand. So I have these two baskets. I'll pass this one around on this side of the room, and this one over here. So we're going to meditate for a few minutes. You may hold your leaf or your other object in your hand as you meditate, or you may set it aside. And just do your normal practice. Or if you're new to meditation, just follow your breathing. Just be present with your breath in a non-thinking way. No big deal, but let's just make a gentle, steady effort for a few minutes here. Now, please take a look at your leaf and examine it, your leaf or your other object. And please relax your own ideas, relax your thoughts, and just look, just let the leaf be. No hurry, it will need time. What does it have to show you? So just receive it. Let it come to you. You don't know this leaf. It is showing you what it is. Let your ideas of it just go away. Now, please resume your meditation posture. And ask yourself, how can I let this leaf be a leaf? How can I let things be things? I've never done that. I've always reached out to things. I've always tried to grab or keep things. How can I let things be things? How can I step back? And now let this question become wordless and hold this wordless question. Hold this question with your heart. And be ready, if it comes, to receive an answer. Don't look for an answer. Only be ready to receive it if it comes. An answer to this wordless question, and trust your ability to hold a wordless question. You don't need the words. And if no answer comes, that's great, because the thing is to hold the question, to stay in that place of openness where we don't know, we truly don't know. And we can make a vow to stay open and receptive. And we will end our meditation there. Thank you. Thank you. And that's my talk. You may keep the leaf as a reminder, but please don't try to really keep the leaf. It's not a talisman, it's not a charm, it's not the answer. The thing we just wanted to receive was the leaf, but what we need now is the next thing coming. Not even the next thing coming, but this thing right now. It's this thing now. The leaf is gone. It was the leaf, and now it's this. And there is no leaf. So, thank you. Would anyone like to say something?
I'll say something.
Okay.
I was, as we were doing this, I was thinking, how do I preserve this leaf? I was thinking, I'm gonna put it in a book, and then I'll put it on my little altar at home. And, you know, I mean, as a representation, I mean, I suppose that would maybe be fine, but on the other hand, I could maybe throw it away and find another leaf, or let this go where all these are gonna go, which is back into the ground, or, I don't know, it's just ironic, I guess, and beautiful too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we can learn a lot by that relentless desire to hold on to things. Thank you. Katie.
There was a Dharma talk or a ceremony at one time when leaves were distributed. And so I had a leaf from a talk, and you know, it felt important, so I put it in my purse. But of course, a few weeks later, the leaf was not there. It was a pile of dust.
Right.
So we have to remember that impermanence is always effective.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Was there someone over here? Raymond.
I guess a couple things came to mind to me as I was observing it. It was constantly changing, and yet it was the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of interdependence came. I think it's Thich Nhat Hanh gives the example of a piece of paper, and I take it for the piece of leaf that if we look at it, the water, the sky, the earth, everything, all the stardust that makes us
Mm-hmm.
is in there, and thus probably us also.
Yeah. And the leaf will crumble. It'll become compost. New things will come up. Mm-hmm. Impermanence, interdependence, same thing. Yes.
I smiled when I got my leaf. You were laughing, actually. Because I had a concept of what a leaf would be. And my leaf is dirty, and it's like kind of wilty on one side, and it's green and blotchy. It's not the prettiest leaf in that basket,
Yeah.
but it made me smile because there's this incongruence between the leaf I thought I would get, the beautiful leaf that you got there. It made me smile and laugh.
Yeah.
And so it made me identify with the monk who just smiled. So the joy of just existence. And I think that's something, it feels good to be connected to that, the joy.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Nikki, I'm new here.
Welcome.
Thank you. I was thinking about as the basket was going around, I was like, all right, I know exactly what's gonna happen when this basket gets to me, I'm gonna pass it behind me. That's what's gonna happen, that's my responsibility. And I was getting anxious, I was like, I'm gonna get that basket. You're getting that basket from me, that's my job. And then it didn't happen that way. And I just grabbed my leaf and then I was like, oh, this is where I am now.
Yeah. Right. So yeah. So the next thing. Yes, Vanessa.
I was wondering, looking around for what my perspective on keeping or not keeping the leaf go, depending on my stage of emotions. I remember early in the year, I go to India and I get a leaf from the Bodhi tree that a kid gave me. And I remember I bring the leaf with me. I was, oh, this leaf is so beautiful. And that moment I was very emotional, like, good, yeah, so beautiful. And I remember I give this leaf away, and I was starting to think, now, where did the leaf go? Because I remember I give to someone or something where it was very meaningful for me, but I just pass it along. In this moment of my life, it's so much going on in my brain, emotionally, and it's some pains and some stuff, and I was like, okay, I need to put this leaf in a little plastic and go and kind of like hold it on the leaf
Mm-hmm.
because of putting kind of some charge on it, not passing it along as I did before when I was in another stage. So that made me just realize like, oh wow, how my ideas of let it go, keep the leaf, change with my stage of mind.
Yeah. 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 Those ideas of keeping things small when it comes to a leaf, but those ideas of keeping things, those cause our suffering, our clinging. Yeah. We can learn to let go, not grasp, be more free. Yeah. Yes, Randy, and then was it Margaret?
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy, Margaret, Pat.
One of my son's most cherished memories is going with my father, his grandfather, on a fall walk and collecting leaves and putting them in a leaf press. And a number of times over the years, he's brought that up to me and asked me where that leaf press is, and he wants to do that with his child. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about my father, my son, and then I was thinking that this leaf used to be green, and it's now lost the green, and it's old age, and all those thoughts were just running through my head, and I wished I had brought a handkerchief because I was crying.
Oh,
So,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes we do hang on to things like those sweet, precious memories.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it. I could give that talk and it'd be a mirror to this talk I gave today. Yeah, thank you. Margaret.
Well, I was looking at my leaf and thinking, first of all, it's extremely beautiful, and mine has still got a little vitality in it. It's not dried up yet. It's very soft, and just the perfect symmetry of this leaf. And then I thought, as an artist, we're always trying to recreate these things, this perfectness, but there's no way we can really do it. It's only in the leaf. And then I thought, and this leaf is one of millions, and it's not famous all by itself. It didn't write a book of poetry. It didn't, rise to any powerful political position. But that we can't survive without these leaves, and that they all do something that we can't do. They photosynthesize energy. They take in carbon dioxide, pump out oxygen, so that we can survive on this earth. And so it's famous, but it's not famous. And in the end, it just lets go. And at this point in my life, this whole idea of, I think for all of us now, to let go of a lot of the, ideas and delusions that we've had all along here, and to let something new grow in our soil that we made.
Yeah, I like that. In the end, it just lets go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, did you?
Margaret and Randy touched on this, but I thought this was a pretty sad activity. Leaves kind of showing permanence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought about the end of the opening paragraph of Dogen's Genjo Koan. He talks about all these like heady Buddhist teachings, and then at the end he's like, and flowers fall and weeds grow, and you could say leaves fall, right? Like all this is true in Buddhism, but ultimately life's really sad, we're all gonna die just like this leaf did. This leaf did a lot of work, for the tree before it died. And so we can do a lot of work in our life, and then ultimately, we all die.
Yeah.
And it's really inspirational and it's beautiful.
Yeah. But leaves become really good compost too.
Just like us.
Yes. And other things grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, John, and then,
Well, I agree with Matt, but then there's also the and. When I look at this, I see life and I see evolution, and in particular, sugar maples are extremely shade-tolerant climax species trees, native to Minnesota. They start out in the understory because they are so shade-tolerant. They can grow underneath mature trees. And Ted, if you hold up your leaf, the reason sugar maple leaves are so large is because they do start out in the understory. They have to capture any dappled sunlight that comes in to photosynthesize. That's why they're so large, versus trees that are pioneer species that start out on a site have very small leaves because they don't need to capture dappled sunlight. So I see evolution here, and life, and the will to live, and adaptation, and so it's just beautiful.
yes, it is.
Beauty in
Yes, it is. It is beautiful. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah, Sam.
Sam.
I was just sort of reflecting on what in my life am I really attached to, and what expectations of results do I really have. And one thing I've been kind of struggling with recently is sort of like my career trajectory, and just thinking about where am I supposed to be. At this stage, I should be making X amount of money, I should be in this position, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and just how, when I get in sort of the obsession of where things are supposed to be, and comparing myself to others, how that just tends to lead to a lot of suffering on my part, and obsession, and disappointment, and feelings of failure, and instead of you said, just sort of seeing things how they are rather than how they're supposed to be.
Yeah, we have the actual situation and we have our desires and plans that kind of obscure it. And if we can just drop those desires and plans for a bit and see it for what it really is, then we still, try to do our best, and we try to come up with new plans, but we can see it clearly then if we can drop all of those ideas we have about it. Yeah. Yes.
Ted?
Holly.
Hi, Holly.
So one of the things, I was really trying to observe the leaf, and I was like, oh, there's a small tear in the bottom of it. And I was like, wait, that's not a tear, that's a fold. And then I turned it, and I was like, wait, that's a small hole. And then I was looking at it, and I was like, there's small holes all over this leaf. And then it was green in the middle. I was like, I don't even know how a leaf changes color. Is it green in the middle because it starts on the outside and moves to the inside?
I don't know.
And I don't know, I've never looked at a leaf very closely, and I thought it was interesting how my observations about the leaf changed the longer I looked at it, and it made me realize how little I know about this leaf. And then also as a follow-up, it's been fascinating to sit in this room and hear what everyone else thought of when they saw their leaf, which is so different.
Yeah.
Everyone. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Holly.
Ted?
Yes.
Bill has raised his hand online.
Oh, okay. Bill. Yeah, hi, Bill.
Hi, Ted. Like most of us on Zoom, I don't have a leaf,
Yeah.
but I have a rock.
Ah, you have a rock.
Yeah, same story, just slower.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said it's the same story, it's just slower.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Nick.
When you were first talking about leaves and how you want to give this one in fall, immediately I thought this was going to go towards death. And I recognized when we were doing our own little thing, when it was to that stage, I guess, of just recognizing or trying to let things be how they are, I immediately thought, okay, what can I apply this to? Like, just letting things be. And it's like things I came up with, relationships I have with people, my cat dying, patience I have. It's like, okay, sweet, I have all these ideas of where I could apply, but now the difficulty is trying to actually apply that in real time, just letting things be. And that's gonna be an interesting thing.
Yeah. Well, of course, practice helps with that. Meditation practice, especially. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Maybe one more person, if there's one more comment. Yes.
Ted?
Oh yeah. Okay. First Benton, and then back here, and then we'll have to stop. Okay, Benton.
Yeah, I just had somebody was asking about they don't know how the leaves change colors. And, well, there's a technical explanation, but I think it can actually have sort of a metaphor too, is that the colors are always there. It's just covered up with the chlorophyll, and the chlorophyll is what gives it the green. And when winter is coming, it takes that chlorophyll takes a lot of energy, so it pulls the chlorophyll back into the roots to use next year, and then it leaves the color behind. And I don't know what the metaphor for that is, but maybe it's something about our own life that we have to be ready with our own energy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And one more comment, please.
I remember when the basket was going around, there was one leaf that I almost grabbed, but like I thought it looked too like bent up, and then I grabbed a different one, and now I keep thinking about like what could have been with that leaf, and then it could have taught me.
Yeah, preferences, expectations, yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's turn this over to Aaron, our esteemed Doan, who will tell us about some exciting stuff.
Well, Ted, maybe you want to start out by talking about the Rohatsu Sesshin coming up, and I will pass the Dana Bowl while you do that.
Okay, so this is our annual retreat. It's a one-week retreat. You're welcome to join us. You don't have to do the whole week. If you register for it, you can see there are various portions that you can do, 1 day, 2 days, etc. It begins the evening of Sunday, December 1st, and ends late afternoon, Sunday, December 8th. And it will be led by myself and Cato Thoughtland. And the subject is the 10 ox herding pictures. It's a formal retreat. It is challenging. Please try to be rested up when you show up. And you can register for it online, but the deadline is Tuesday. So you just have 2 more days to decide whether you're going to join in. And I'm really excited about doing this with Cato and about the topic and doing oryoki meals and wearing my robes and all of that. And would love to have you join us. Thank you.